Hey everyone, Kelly Davis here with KcD Homes, bringing you your quarterly market update for Loudoun County for the first quarter of 2025. So today we're breaking down the latest trends in home prices, inventory, interest rates, some alternative financing solutions, and how current events are affecting the market. So let's dive in. So starting with home prices, after years of rapid price jumps, home price growth is slowing to a much more normal pace. So what does that look like? I'm sure you've seen some price drops in certain areas of Loudoun County. So when this happens, the most common question I get are home prices going down? And the answer is no, and here's why. Every time a house sells, that sales price becomes the new comp or base point for the next house that goes on the market. So for the past few years, every time a house sold for $25K, $50K, or $100K over the ask price, the next house would try to use that sold price as their new starting point or listing price. And that worked for a while and attributed to year-over-year appreciation as high as 19% at one point. But now what's happening is that those sellers that are still trying to push the market are having reality checks and are having to lower prices to be more in line with a much more reasonable appreciation level. So this does not mean that prices are decreasing. What this means is that the rate of appreciation is slower. So take a look at this graph that shows the appreciation rate across the different regions of the US. In all but a couple of regions, appreciation in houses are still going up in value, just not at a crazy rate. And you'll see here in the Middle Atlantic region, we have one of the higher appreciation rates at 0.8% compared to the rest of the US. So another way of saying this is that house prices are not going down, but leveling off or going up at a much slower rate. Next, I'd like to talk about inventory. We are in the height of the spring market right now, and inventory is definitely up. And so many have asked me if the influx in inventory, especially in this area, is up more than usual, and the answer is yes. So take a look at this graph. There are over 300 more homes on the market in March of 2025 versus March of 2024. So additionally, you'll see the number of homes that have sold is down. In March of 2025, of the 700 plus houses that came on the market, only 550 or so sold. This compared to last year, where about 400 homes hit the market and over 375 or so sold. So there are a few factors that are leading to all of this, which some of it having to do with the government. So many are losing their jobs and are panicking and are looking to sell and move out of the area. And there are others that after years of being able to work from home are being forced to go back into the office. And so these folks that moved further out are now looking to sell and move closer into the city to avoid long commutes. So this is definitely affecting the housing market as there are more houses for sale than usual at this time of year. So moving on to interest rates, rates declined for 7 straight weeks at the beginning of this year before going up slightly in the last week of March. So rates started the year over 7% and are now in the mid 6% range. So while that still seems really high, it is noteworthy that overall it is trending downward, especially when the forecast and everybody was saying that we wouldn't hit the mid 6% range until probably third quarter of this year. So with the continued higher interest rates and rising prices, buyers and lenders are getting more creative with how to make home buying more affordable. So one of the most common alternative financing solutions that I've seen is the use of a mortgage rate buydown. So a mortgage rate buydown involves paying an upfront fee to buy the rate down either permanently or for a certain period of time. While the permanent buydowns do not seem to be cost effective, temporary buydowns where the interest rate is lower for the first 2 or 3 years of the loan have become extremely common. In fact, one of my buyers that is closing this month we were able to successfully negotiate the seller to pay for a 3-2-1 buydown that costs the seller over $30,000, but where the interest rate will be lower for the first 3 years of my buyer's loan. So this is on trend because if you look at the graph, currently there are over 27% of buyers requesting and receiving seller-paid mortgage buydowns. So, what does all of this really mean? Here in Loudoun County, the spring market is in full swing. Prices are leveling off, and while we are still technically in a seller's market, inventory is growing. Buyers are still struggling a little bit with the higher interest rates, but with the leveling off of prices and with inventory growing, more sellers are open to paying for alternative financing solutions. So if you're thinking about selling, you're still in a really good spot. And if you're considering buying, there may be more opportunity to get closing costs or buy downs covered from sellers. As for the government and what's going on with that, time's really going to tell how much of this area is going to be impacted by all the local changes. My prediction is that by the end of this summer, this area will see the closest thing we've seen to a buyer's market in over 10 years. So that's it. If you want more insight, let's chat. Drop a comment, DM me, or give me a call, and I'd love to chat more about the market.